Years ago, I heard a very interesting interview. It was a young woman who belonged to the Jain religion. Now, Jains, they're committed to nonviolence. They believe that religion is nothing unless you commit to nonviolence. It's probably the gentlest religion ever. When walking, Jains carry a whisk broom, and they sweep in front of themselves gently so they don't step on an innocent animal or insect. So for this young lady, if she had a mosquito in her bedroom, it had so much terrible power because she couldn't swat it away. She had to let it survive. On the other end of the mosquito spectrum, when my brother came home from Vietnam, he had a terrible case of malaria. My brother was shaking, he was shivering, he had to take medication. Malaria, of course, is the most well-known mosquito-borne disease, but not all mosquitoes spread disease. Some are just incredibly annoying. Mosquitoes spread many diseases. They're found in the U.S., although they're still not relatively common. The diseases spread to people by mosquitoes in the United States include Zika virus, West Nile virus, chikungunya, dengue fever, malaria, Eastern equine encephalitis virus, St. Louis encephalitis, yellow fever, and lacrosse encephalitis. However, most types of mosquitoes in the United States are nuisance mosquitoes. Nuisance mosquitoes bite people but don't spread germs. So of the over 200 types of mosquitoes in the United States and the U.S. territories, about 12 types spread germs. So getting back to that lady from the Jain religion, and the power of that mosquito in her bedroom at night. I feel the same way in bed. When a mosquito is buzzing near my ear, it's so irritating. When it's biting my nose, when my arms are itchy all over the place. So what do? Welcome to Why Mosquitoes Like You and Natural Mosquito Repellents episode, where I will discuss what is thought to be attracting the mosquitoes to you in the first place. Now, that's according to research. Also, besides being incredibly irritating, what you can do to dissuade them. Hi, my name's Jerry Hickey. I'm a pharmacist who also has studied nutrition, and I'm over here at Invite Health. I'm also the scientific director, and today we'll be discussing all things mosquito. So please be sure to subscribe to the Invite Health podcast, and please leave us a review. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health. All of the information on today's episode will be linked in the episode description, and you can visit invitehealth.com/podcast for more information. So let's get going. Experts have somewhat unraveled why mosquitoes bite some of us more often than others. Mosquitoes do exhibit blood-sucking preferences for some people. Now, this is according to a Dr. Jerry Butler. He's a professor at the University of Florida. 1 in 10 people are highly attractive to mosquitoes, he says. Male mosquitoes do not bite us, and it's not dinner that those female mosquitoes are siphoning up. Female mosquitoes need human blood to develop fertile eggs. However, not just anyone's blood will do. So why do mosquitoes like you the best? Researchers have still not pinpointed what mosquitoes consider an ideal leg to bite. But there's a tremendous amount of research being conducted. So what compounds on humans, what odors, what do we exude that might be attractive to mosquitoes? Now, this is Joe Conlon. He's a PhD. He's a technical advisor to the American Mosquito Control Association. Scientists do know that genetics account for a great deal of our susceptibility to mosquito bites. So there's something about our own genes. They've also identified certain factors in our body chemistry. When found in excess on the skin surface, this attracts mosquitoes to you. People with high concentrations of steroids, so you might not want to take those corticosteroids to look better at the gym, or high cholesterol on their skin, that attracts mosquitoes. Now, we do have things that naturally lower cholesterol. So if that's part of the issue, it's always good to have your cholesterol under control. Think of a product called sterols. It's a fat from vegetables that blocks the absorption of cholesterol. If you take it before meals, you'll get a good result, and it'll start to lower your cholesterol within a week or two. We've actually done a podcast episode on that, on sterols for lowering cholesterol. Mosquitoes are also targeting people who produce excess amounts of uric acid. Now, we've also done an episode on uric acid. Uric acid can trigger a mosquito's sense of smell, so when it's on your skin, it lures them to you, and it lands on you, and it bites you. You can find out your uric acid level on a simple blood test. It's not hard to reduce. To reduce your uric acid, you cut back on sugary foods like sodas. You cut back on meat, certainly shellfish, alcohol, especially beer and wine. get some exercise. It's interesting and it's important to know. Uric acid at low levels works as an antioxidant in humans, but at high levels, it's dangerous. If you have other risk factors for heart disease or something happening with your heart, like a stroke or heart attack, that could be obesity, that could be diabetes, it could be high blood pressure, high cholesterol, then elevated uric acid becomes exceedingly dangerous and can trigger a stroke or a heart attack. In fact, you can't even look at the normal level. And the normal level varies from lab to lab when they do a blood test. So normally it might say 4 to 9 is the normal level. You want your level below 6. You want it above 5 and you want it below 6. That's like the ideal level for your uric acid. Mosquitoes can also smell their dinner from a long distance, up to 50 meters. Now that's 50 meters. That's about 164 feet. That's more than 1.5 football fields in length. That's pretty darn impressive. So a mosquito, if you have the high cholesterol, the high uric acid, the high level of steroids on your skin, that mosquito can smell it from longer distance than a football field. Now that doesn't bode well for obese people because they emit larger quantities of carbon dioxide. So you may want to lose weight to keep those mosquitoes away if you're obese. Overall, obesity is associated with about a 20% more greater emission of greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. Not very nice at a date. So normal weight, you release a lot less carbon dioxide. You're not as attractive to mosquitoes. So this is according to a study published online in the journal Obesity. Now, if you're obese, we do have a supplement that can help with that. It's called Phase 2. It's a starch blocker. You take 2 capsules with a glass of water about 10 minutes before each meal, and it blocks the amount of sugar you absorb from carbohydrates, and it really helps. It's so effective. Many human clinical trials proves it works, and the FDA actually allows us to make weight loss health claims. The point system from Weight Watchers works. Weight Watchers, if you pay for the app, they appoint a point system to every kind of food. So, for instance, a glass of red wine might be 5 points, whereas a bowl of granola might be like 23 points. So you start thinking about points when you go to eat a food, and it makes you very cognizant of food choices. And you'll lose weight because of that. Also, taking a nice long walk, and the faster the better. I would take a walk at least twice a day. The faster the pace, the better. Like I said, it will absolutely help you lose weight. Any type of carbon dioxide is attractive to mosquitoes, even over a long distance. Larger people give off more carbon dioxide, lose that weight. But of course, this is something that affects pregnancy too. Pregnant women tend to give off more carbon dioxide. So perhaps pregnant women should stay inside at dusk or wear a lot of clothing at night when the mosquitoes are more active. You know, at dusk, that's when they're active. Movement and heat also attracts mosquitoes, so I don't think you want to run track at dusk. So how do you keep that itchy bite away? Before we do this, we're going to talk about the synthetic chemicals. I'm not a lover of chemicals. And then we're going to talk about natural alternatives. Let's go to a quick break. You're listening to an Invite Health episode of our podcast talking about why would a mosquito be so attracted to you and how can you help protect yourself. We'll be right back.
This podcast is brought to you by InviteHealth.com. For over 20 years, Invite Health has provided premium quality supplements and expert advice you can trust. Now, first-time customers can enjoy an exclusive offer. Visit invitehealth.com/podcast or click the link in this episode description. That's invitehealth.com/podcast for your exclusive offer on Invite Health products. Invite Health offers the resources you need to make important decisions about your health. Chat live with degreed healthcare professionals, get product information, and find retail locations near you at invitehealth.com. You can also learn about our new genetic testing program and our exclusive Invite Fitness Wellness program. Follow Invite Health on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast today. Now back to our episode.
Okay, welcome back. So how do you keep that itchy bite away from the mosquito? There's plenty of mosquito repellents lining the store shelves each summer. They're not all equal in effectiveness. The majority of available mosquito repellents use synthetic chemicals like Deet, DEET is the most widely used insect repellent in the United States. It's been around longer than other active ingredients. Many scientists say it's the gold standard for repellents. I don't like it. I don't use it. In repeated studies, it's been proven to be the most effective synthetic chemical repellent on the market. Now, that's important when you're living in a place where you could get yellow fever, but that's not really as important in my backyard in Long Island where I just want to barbecue some fish and not get itchy. So I avoid the chemicals. Repellents with about 24% DEET protect wearers for about 5 hours. Now, that's according to a study led by Mark Fraden. He's a PhD. He's a researcher with Chapel Hill Dermatology. Although the authorities repeatedly say DEET is safe, I'm a little skeptical. There's always something turning up to be wrong with somebody's health when it comes to synthetic chemicals. Now, DEET was created by chemists for the U.S. Army in the 1940s. And like I said, it's safer than having malaria or yellow fever. In 1998, the Environmental Protection Agency conducted an assessment of DEET, turning up 46 use-related seizure cases and 4 DEET-related deaths. Now, what about the times when DEET wasn't connected to seizures or deaths? I mean, I'm sure there's some additional. Although these extreme cases are rare and they're related to misuse, this indicates to me that there's something potentially toxic with DEET. In a different analysis, researchers looked at more than 9,000 DEET-related calls to poison control centers between 1985 and 1989. They found that for those people referred to health centers, 80% were discharged after an examination, but it didn't go into what happened to the other 20%. A second analysis of more than 20,000 calls made to poison control centers between 1993 and 1997 found similar results. So, okay, there are issues with DEET. Now, what about the environment? Well, scientists say that DEET breaks down into other molecules very quickly. So it breaks down, with the rain and the sun and all that and the wind very quickly, so it's safe. What? What does that mean about the other molecules? Are they safe? Now, breakdown products from chemicals have little to zilch research behind them, zero research behind them. But there's more to it than that. I once wrote a book with an oncologist, a leading oncologist, How to Reduce Your Risk of Developing Cancer, and it spoke a lot about food and exercise, etc. But it also spoke about a lot of chemicals that were considered relatively safe. Here's the problem. When chemicals get into your system, they're modified, and frequently they're bonded to and lined up with other chemicals. And sometimes when you mix 2 or 3 of these chemicals together, they could become 10,000 times more toxic and more dangerous than the original 3 chemicals. So don't tell me these synthetic chemicals are safe because you looked at the chemical and not what happens when it combines with other chemicals in the human body, because there's so many synthetic chemicals. How can you really study these things? I'd rather just avoid chemicals in the first place, synthetic chemicals. When you read as many studies as I do and their impact on a fetus or a pregnant woman or children or even the elderly and women in general, I mean, men are usually bigger, they usually handle it a little better, but it has an impact on men too. You really become quite skeptical about synthetic chemicals being safe. You just don't want to go near them. Now, although DEET is the most well-known chemical as a mosquito repellent, it's not the only chemical used. The chemical IR3535, better known as Avon Skin So Soft Moisturizer, is also marketed as a mosquito repellent. Research shows it's much less effective than DEET. So I prefer something that's a little more natural, called picaridin. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's get back to the synthetics. There's methylfluothrin. This is a fairly new chemical. It was approved by the EPA in 2006 as a mosquito repellent. It's toxic if you apply it to the skin, so it's applied to like a belt. It's neurotoxic. Or it comes as a paper strip that you place in an outdoor area like your patio and your deck and your porch. Now, before we go into the natural insect repellents, let's go to another quick break. We'll be right back.
This podcast is brought to you by InviteHealth.com. For over 20 years, Invite Health has provided premium quality supplements and expert advice you can trust. Now, first-time customers can enjoy an exclusive offer. Visit invitehealth.com/podcast or click the link in this episode description. That's invitehealth.com/podcast for your exclusive offer on Invite Health products. Invite Health offers the resources you need to make important decisions about your health. Chat live with degreed healthcare professionals, get product information, and find retail locations near you at invitehealth.com. You can also learn about our new genetic testing program and our exclusive Invite Fitness Wellness program. Follow Invite Health on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast today. Now back to our episode.
Okay, welcome back. We're up to the part of the episode where we talk about natural ways to prevent mosquito bites. Now, first a tip from the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. Once a week, empty and scrub, turn over, cover, or throw out any items that hold water, like tires, like buckets, like planters, toys, pools, bird baths, flower pots, saucers, trash containers, because that's where the mosquitoes lay their eggs, near water. Now the natural repellents, picaridin. It's fairly new to the U.S., but it's been used worldwide since 1998. Picaridin was modeled after piperine. Now, piperine's a natural molecule found in pepper. Picaridin is a synthetic replica. It's very close to being natural. So it's kind of natural. It looks like it's very safe, and it's very effective. It's been on the U.S. market since 2005. It's been proven to be as effective as Deet, but is said to be more pleasant to use because it's odorless and it feels cleaner and lighter on your skin. So the spray product should be at least 20% picaridin, and that's worked as well or better than some Deet-based products. The existing data, there's less of it than for Deet, but it indicates that it's really pretty darn safe, and the World Health Organization and the Center for Disease Control down in Atlanta would rather you go with picaridin than use Deet. Now there's a tree in Australia, a eucalyptus tree. It's the oil of the lemon eucalyptus tree. It comes from the lemon eucalyptus tree leaf. It's different than the essential oil of lemon eucalyptus. It's not the same thing. So extracted oil of lemon eucalyptus is refined to increase the amount of an ingredient, a natural ingredient called PMD. And that's a very active ingredient against mosquitoes. It often contains about 30% oil of lemon eucalyptus and 20% PMD. It lasts for a pretty long time. The oil of lemon eucalyptus products last for a pretty long time. They're endorsed by the Center for Disease Control, and they offer similar protection to low concentrations of Deet. So I say yes to oil of lemon eucalyptus. It also, by the way, helps ward off ticks. So that's like added value. In fact, they found that not only does the oil of lemon eucalyptus with PMD work pretty comparably to Deet and last pretty much as long as Deet, like 5.5 hours, it's better for repelling ticks than Deet. It prevents ticks from attaching and feeding. And it seems to be effective for biting midges as well. Those little kind of fly things. In a 2018 study, they looked at the effect of 20% PMD from oil of lemon eucalyptus on the feeding of Aedes aegypti. That's a mosquito that transmits like dengue fever and really serious infections, and it led to significantly less feeding compared to a control substance. I mean, the stuff works. I won't read you any more studies, but similar stuff. 2-undecanone actually comes out of tomatoes. It has a very strong odor, and it repels mosquitoes for up to 4.5 hours. But because of the odor, it can also repel your dog and cat. It could repel your pets. So the active ingredient of the repellent is derived from essential oils found in the leaves and stems of a species of wild tomato. It's called Lycopersicon hirsutum. It could be used both on your skin and on your clothing. So there are natural alternatives. There's also mosquito traps. That's a relatively new product. They may be an answer. They work by emitting substances that biting mosquitoes like, that they find attractive: carbon dioxide, heat, moisture, and other mosquito-friendly byproducts. They attract, but then they kill the female mosquitoes. When placed strategically near breeding spots, they have knocked down mosquito populations pretty dramatically. Now, of course, the best thing: go inside at dusk and cover up. But don't forget, lower your cholesterol, get your uric acid down, and lose weight. All of those things help also. Thank you for tuning into our Invite Health podcast. You can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts or by visiting invitehealth.com/podcast. Please make sure you subscribe and please leave us a review. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Invite Health. We'll see you next time in another episode of the Invite Health podcast, and thank you so much for listening.